Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's always a great day when I can come out to the range and shoot some black powder stuff. It is 1 week till bow season, and that means just a few more weeks after that till muzzleloader season. I've had some trouble with this muzzleloader in the past. This is a Knight MK85 inline muzzleloader, and this is one that my dad gave me several years ago. When I got the gun, it already had some bore pitting, not terrible, but a little bit, and then I kind of messed it up and pitted it just a little bit more. But let me throw some bore scope footage up on the screen here. It's not as bad as I thought. There's no super deep pitting that I could find in just a 1 or 2 minute check, just kind of some surface stuff with just a little bit of depth to it. So I'm hoping we can still get some decent accuracy out of this rifle. Last year, I did a little comparison with the 250 grain Hornady XTP that we had normally shot in years past, and the 290 grain bore driver FTX bullet from Hornady. I did have some good luck with this bullet last year, just shooting at 50 yards, but I want to make sure this year that I've got a good zero and some good dope out to 200 to maybe even 250 this year, just in case that same buck that I missed last year gives me another opportunity, or another buck, you never know. I do have the chronograph set up to capture some velocities today. That's something I have not done in the past. Hopefully I can get some decent data with a visual chronograph, though there will be a pretty big smoke cloud that may obscure its sensors, though hopefully not before the bullet can get across. I do have a little bit of a breeze today helping me out, but it's coming to a lull pretty often here, so hopefully we can get some numbers with that. I am using a volumetric powder measure today because that's what I've always heard was good with black powder. Now, I do want to do some testing in the future and see if shooting by weight gets some better chronograph consistency. That's not something I'm super worried about shooting fairly short range, 1 to 200 yards here. So the first thing we're gonna do is get this gun loaded up and shoot at 100 yards, make sure the zero's on, and then we'll pop out to 200. I'll show you the first load and probably the first clean, but I won't show you the loading after that. Otherwise, this will be an hour-long video for 6 to 10 shots. I do have some 2F GoX loaded up in the powder dispenser here. The last time I did anything with a muzzleloader, it got demonetized almost immediately. Let me just say for any YouTube reviewers that this is how the gun is intended to be shot. This is what the manufacturer of this rifle intended. It is a muzzleloading rifle, which means you have to dump powder and a bullet down the bore each time this gun is shot. So let's get this loaded up and we'll shoot. I do not have the target camera set up down there right now just for the first shot. I will put it out there after the first shot though, once I know that I'm not gonna hit the camera. I'm gonna get this off the bench and we're going with 100 grains today. I have not experimented with different powder charges with the muzzleloader yet. I may do that in the future. 100 grains is what I've always used, so that's what we're going with today. One thing after my last video that my dad mentioned, and I had kind of forgotten about this, is this powder flask was sitting on the bench. He told a story of a guy he worked with having a powder flask sitting on the bench, a spark jumping out from the breech of the muzzleloader, and igniting a powder flask, sending the flask through a steel door. Don't really want to do that today, so I'm gonna make sure that this is off the bench before I shoot. But I've got 100 grains here. I have made sure the bore is clear, and like I said, I bore scoped it, but I did put a patch down there, wiped out the bore once, and fired a cap through the breech plug just to make sure it was clear. So we're gonna go powder first. I don't have the ramrod set up yet, so I'll do that. I do remember this bullet being very easy to push down, but I'll go ahead and put the T-handle on there. After shooting these last year, I did go ahead and buy another box of them. These bullets are true to bore size, which is not something that I have shot a lot with in the past. None of my short starters are really great for this bullet. Actually, the end of my ramrod is probably about the best that I'm gonna do. Okay, there, I've got the bullet started, and we're all the way down on the powder column. I think that flex tip did kind of get stuck in the threading in there, but should be okay. All right, I'm gonna set everything that's on the bench aside. I've got some CCI number 11 caps here. All right, gun is cocked. On safety, there, now it's on safe. The secondary safe is on. All right, I'll throw in some earplugs here and take a shot. I've not shot this gun since last hunting season. I'm lined up pretty decent with the chronograph there. Go ahead and take the secondary safety off and wait until I get lined up to take this safety off. That felt fairly soft. And again, I haven't shot this gun in quite a long time, so I really don't remember what to expect. I have been shooting a lot of 30-06 lately. So I'm gonna check the chronograph and see what we got there. Got a velocity of 1418 on the chronograph, and really that's pretty close to what I was expecting. I'm gonna get my jag and run a patch with just a little bit of ballistol on through the barrel. Again, since this rifle is shot, it is now unloaded, and there's no possible way it could fire because I have not poured more powder and a bullet down the barrel. I'm going to use just a very little bit of ballistol on there, and we'll run it through. And I already lost my patch. Patch must not fit tight enough. I may be able to blow it out the end with a cap. All right, those caps are loud, but I did not see the patch come out. Well, guess I'll take it apart. Joy of muzzleloader. And I will do this in between each shot, though I won't show that to you guys. And dry patch. All right, it looks like my bullet hole is about 4 inches low of center on the target. I'm gonna go down there and check it out. All right, it is a good thing that I came down here to look because I thought that was the impact. It's not. My bullet actually landed clear down there. We're like 12 inches off, and that would explain why I missed. I am gonna go ahead and crank up the scope. You know what? I'm gonna leave that right there, and we're gonna shoot a second shot. There's no other 50 cal holes on this target, so it should be pretty easy to see where that goes, and we'll see how far off it is from our cold clean bore shot. Yeah, we'll load up again and shoot. Breeze is blowing right back in my face. But the recoil is way different than I remembered it. I remembered it as being a push, but I remembered it as being harder than that. Okay, and now for sure we are on the paper. So that cold bore shot was like a foot low, which is not good. I know my stuff is tight. I checked it before I left the house. All right, let's shoot another couple shots and see where they land. Velocity was 1375, so only about 50 feet per second difference from the last shot. My hand went to try to open the bolt. Of course that's not going to work. Got 1420 on that shot, so hanging in right around that same area on velocity. It's not wavering by that much. I think that moves the extreme spread up to something like 60 feet per second, which, you know, is not terrible. Let's see where that hit. Yep, that hit just a little bit high of the last shot. All right, well, I'm going to shoot one more shot to confirm that point of impact, and then I'll adjust my scope up for 100 yard zero. Well, we're shooting about a 4-inch group at 100 yards, which is not great at all. Kind of like I remember getting with the XTPs. That group is about centered 3 inches low. I'm going to come up. All right, I've come up 3.5 MOA. And I'm going to shoot 1, maybe 2 more shots there at 100 before trying to shoot at 200. All right, I'm going to call that good enough. And there's a steel plate down there that still doesn't have any shots on it at 200 yards. I'm going to hold at the neck of it again and see what my drop looks like. I should be on the steel plate. If I'm not, I have no business shooting out that far anyway. So let me reset here and we'll do that. That last shot was just over 1,400 feet per second. All those shots are in a narrow enough window, I'm not worried about it. You know what? That bullet should be pretty easily looked up in my Hornady app. Let me try that and see if I can get an idea of what this drop should be. All right, so the 290 grain FTX is not in here, but the 250 grain is, and it's saying my come up is 11 MOA. At that, I don't think I have any business shooting to 200 yards on deer. Let's see what 150. It says 5 MOA at 150. I can probably estimate, let me put this in inches, 8 inches at 150 yards. That's probably going to be my max range, is 150 yards. And I'll have to know what the range is and hold high. Let me just try. I'm going to try to hold, let's put in 250, and I'm assuming it's going to be just a little bit more drop than this. All right, it's saying 23 inches, so we're going to go 2 feet. I'm going to hold over the head at 200 yards and just see if I can get a hit anywhere on the steel. I'm going to put the crosshairs right at the top. Let me see if I can actually get you guys a picture. Unfortunately, my reticle doesn't have any graduations in it, besides the bottom post anyway. Yeah, we'll just see what happens. If I get a hit, I'll be happy. Again, crosshairs at the top of the head. And that's a no, that's a miss at 200 yards. All right, since I'm going to assume that I missed low on that target at 200, I'm gonna hold about 2 feet over its head and see if I can hit it then. And another miss that I have no idea where it's at. So we're just gonna call that for now. All right, folks, so as you can see, I've got no business shooting past 100 yards, really, with this rifle. I know where it's hitting now at 100. I should probably shoot it at 50 to confirm, and I probably will back at the house. But with the 4-ish inch groups at 100 yards and having quite a bit of drop anywhere past that, I really don't have any business shooting past there. So this season, if I do end up hunting with this rifle, I will limit myself to a 100-yard shot, or maybe just a few yards past. I do love this rifle, and it will always hold a special place in my safe since my dad did give it to me. But I think it's time to start looking for a different muzzleloader. I haven't decided which way to go on that yet, but when I do, I will let you guys know. There are several reasons for that today, but 90% of that reason is that cold bore shot is so far off from the rest of the shooting. Could that have to do with the pitting in my barrel? Probably. Before that happened, I remember the cold bore shot being just a couple of inches away from the rest of the group, which at 100 yards is acceptable. Right now, with it being a foot off, and there's no real good way to test for how consistent that is without stripping the rifle all the way down, cleaning it completely, and then taking one more shot and then doing that all over again 2 or 3 times. There's really no good way to test to see how consistent that cold bore shot is. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed seeing me shoot the old smoke pole. When I figure out what I'm doing for muzzleloading this season, I will let you guys know. Thanks for watching, and y'all have a good one.